The candle belt, the city had always hummed with familiar noise buses exhaling at stops. Neon signs flickering against the quiet resistance of the night, but tonight, something felt different. As you walked along the rain-slick sidewalk, the scent of petrichor thick in the air, your foot nearly landed in a shimmering puddle. That's when you saw it. A paper boat, impossibly delicate, floating in the water as if the laws of nature had granted it a quiet immunity. At its center, a tiny candle burned, not flickering, not wavering, but holding steady despite the damp air. It should have drowned. It should have flickered out, but instead it beckoned. Curious, you knelt, touching the fragile vessel. The moment your fingers brushed its side, the boat nudged forward, as though answering an unspoken call. A ripple spread across the puddle, stretching far beyond its natural boundaries, spilling into the street in a way that made no sense. Shadows lengthened, buildings shuddered out of focus, and suddenly, the world around you shifted. You weren't in your city anymore. The alley where the puddle had been was gone, replaced by cobbled streets forgotten by time. Gas lamps flickered overhead, casting warm halos against brick walls overgrown with ivy. The air was thick with the scent of old paper, rain-kissed stone, and something sweeter candied citrus, perhaps. The candle boat led you forward. It floated ahead like a lantern, casting its gentle glow against doors that hadn't been opened in years, storefronts lined with wares that existed decades ago. Forgotten letters lay unsent in dusty post boxes. A bakery window held freshly baked loaves, as if waiting for customers long since faded from memory. It was as if the city had been paused mid-step, untouched by the passage of time. As you walked, you noticed etchings along the walls, messages carved hastily, stories left unfinished, still waiting at the corner where the stars once danced. If you find this, tell them I haven't gone far. The candle boat will take you home. The words curled in your chest, pressing against something deep within you. You turned back, searching for the little boat, but it had stopped. Its candle burned brighter now, illuminating something at your feet, a key. You picked it up, feeling its weight against your palm. The city whispered. Something told you the moment you turned the key wherever it fit, time would shift again. But to where? To when? To whom? The candle boat waited, its flame unwavering. Would you turn the key? I stepped forward, boots silent on the cobblestones slick with dew. The air shimmers, thin and amber, as though dawn itself waits, holding its breath. Behind me, the candle boat drifts farther down the canal, its single flame burning steady as a heartbeat, a promise that what has been will never be lost. Before me stands the arch of ash glass. No one speaks of it anymore, but every forgotten street corner, every torn page of the old folios hinted at its existence. Under its curve, light bends oddly. Time spills like ink dropped into water. I take a breath and draw the stylus from my coat pocket. The same stylus I found knotted inside my grandfather as last journal, the one etched with symbols I still haven't fully understood. The pages of my ledger flutter open by their own accord, as if the story this place has been waiting for my hand. I write, let what was hidden come forth. Let the paths return. Let memory word itself in now. The arch shudders. A crack of violet light veins across its glassy surface. A voice, neither distant nor near, speaks within me. You have asked, will you also walk? I grip the stylus tighter. I will, and I step through. The words settle into the air like ripples spreading across water, echoing, carrying weight beyond sound. The room exhales, as if recognizing the command. Shelves tremble, letters stir, forgotten ink hums back to life. The air shifts, rich with the scent of aged paper and rain-damp stone. Outside, the cobbled streets seem to realign themselves, twisting and unfurling like a great map, remembering its true shape. The pages of the open book before you begin to fill not with ink, but with light. Memories etch themselves into existence, forming lines of stories that had once faded, paths that had unraveled. Through the doorway, the city awakens. Lamps flicker brighter, illuminating roads long lost to time. Footsteps echo where silence once ruled. Whispered names, unspoken goodbyes, laughter trapped in the hush of forgotten corners, all rising, returning, rooting themselves into the present. The candle boat remains still, its flame unwavering, watching, its purpose fulfilled. And now the story is no longer just past. It belongs to Mao, to you. What will you do next? The arch folds behind me. I emerge into a space that doesn't settle into clarity all at once. It comes in waves. First, the scent of dry parchment and myrrh. Then dim shelves spiraling upward into forever, filled with books bound in materials I can't name. Lamps sway gently overhead, though no wind touches my skin. Their glass bellies glow with a dull ochre, as if lit by embers from long-cooled stars. And seated at a desk carved from putrefied roots, he waits. He hasn't aged. Or maybe he aged so far past age that he circled back into familiarity. Ah, he says, without lifting his head. His voice is smoke and gravel, yet smooth like oiled wood. I wondered when you'd remember how to find the door. His fingers trail across a map unfurled on the desk. It's no map of places I know, continents shaped like sleeping beasts, rivers looping like calligraphy strokes, oceans patterned with spirals and runes. I take a step closer, Calwin, I say softly. At that, he looks up, eyes of deep amber. The kind of eyes that once saw me as a child scribbling translations on temple floors. Or so I remember, maybe time coils oddly here. I never forgot you, I add, unsure whether I'm confessing or accusing. His mouth creases into a thin smile. He gestures to the chair opposite him. No, I know. Forgetting and remembering aren't as opposite as they pretend. Sit. Let's see how much you've carried back with you. I lower myself onto the chair. The weight of the journey settles into my bones only now that I've stopped moving. Calwin studies me carefully, eyes tracing the lines on my face like reading a palimpsest. Tell me, he says at last, what did the candle boat show you on the way here? I hesitate, not because I don't remember, but because I remember too much. Fragments, I reply, streets that don't exist anymore. Names I've heard only in dreams. I saw grandmother teaching songs to shadows beneath the aqueduct. I saw towers that hadn't fallen yet, and I pause. My throat tightens. And I saw the ledger opening itself, the words writing before I could think them. Calwin leans back, folding his hands under his chin. Good, he murmurs. Then you've come far enough to ask the right question. I frown. Which question? He lifts a small glass sphere from the desk. Within it, a faint pulse beats, steady and slow, like a distant star blinking through fog. He holds it out between us. Do you still want to write the story as it was told to you? He asks quietly, or as it was meant to be. The room deepens. The shelves seem to lean inward, listening. Even the lamps dim as if awaiting my breath.